Welcome to Bed Crime Stories podcast. I'm your host, T. If you like all things true crime, if you like it delivered in a peaceful, tranquil manner, if you like it clear and concise without drama, then I highly recommend you subscribe. And if you like what you hear, please smash the like button. It's a free way you can help. And now, without further ado, let's dig in. We now know the specific spot where 19-year-old Jay Slater was found after he plunged to his death in Tenerife. The Dutch search team that Jay's mother, Debbie, engaged to come and look for her son found the tragic location last Thursday after a 5-hour hike in and out of the Barranco Juan Lopez Valley and the rocky ravine that terminates at the end of it. Jay's parents wanted to know exactly where Jay fell to his death. So 3 members of the Dutch team, along with a Belgian Malinois dog named Flex, went out there and they took videos and pictures of the scene around 300 yards into the ravine. And this was to try and bring some comfort to Jay's parents and brother. Apparently, they wanted to know where he spent his last moments of life. The video that the team took is posted on their Facebook page, and it gives us the most graphic view of the treacherous volcanic landscape inside the ravine where Jay died. One clip in the video shows where the search and rescue dog, Flex, was peering cautiously over the ledge into an area of thick bushes at the base of the ravine, and that's where Jay's body was lying hidden for nearly 4 weeks. So before they did this hike into that area, the team met with Jay's parents, Debbie Duncan and Warren, on Sunday night because they needed to get a fragrance source of Jay. It sounds like the family handed over some item of clothing or something else that had Jay's scent on it. And then the team started their search on Monday morning at the Airbnb in Moscow that Jay had been at prior to heading out into that dangerous terrain. And they tracked his scent all the way to the Juan Lopez Valley, and that is where Jay made his last call with his phone battery down to 1%. The update on the team's website reads, quote, "The team with the dogs picked up Jay's tracks at the Airbnb he had left and in the valley where the last phone ping was, just before the phone ran empty. By noon, the dogs were rested to avoid the high temperatures. During that break, the message came in that a body had been found. Where was still unclear." An article on the Daily Mail says that, quote, "On the 3rd day of the search, the 3rd dog, Flex, managed to penetrate to the scene of the accident. A heavy hike of 2.5 hours was covered through rocky terrain with lots of weeds, bushes, and cacti." And according to the same article, the searchers were assisted on the trek by a drone operator from the National Drone Team organization in the Netherlands who had flown out with them. So it sounds like the team did not actually go down all the way. They said the steep descent down was spared for the team because the drone captured the end point 20 meters away from them. The search team immediately started their return journey to be able to endure the worst heat as short as possible. I think that might be a poor translation. Maybe they meant to be out in the very intense heat for the shortest amount of time necessary. This is how the founder of the Dutch search team, a woman named Esther van Neerbos, described the spot where Jay died. She said, quote, "There are cliffs on either side which are quite high. He was probably walking through, but the bushes become very thick, and he might not have been able to get through them. He may have tried to climb up one of the cliffs to get around it, but it is very dangerous. Maybe he stumbled and fell. His body fell into the bushes. We did shots of the whole area because we wanted to make movies for the family so they know how his last day was. There was a stream going through the bushes with water in it. I think he was just trying to get to the sea so he could walk back to where he was staying. There are a lot of bushes where he fell. It explains how he might not have been seen by a helicopter." End quote. So this same lady, Ms. Van Neerbos, described Jay as a, quote, "very tough guy for managing to walk so far into the rugged volcanic landscape." So basically what Jay did was he left the road and he headed down a dirt path that comes to an abrupt end after just a half a mile. This would have left Jay scrambling down a slope before he reached the rocky outcrops of the ravine at the very end of the valley, which is nearest the coastline. Honestly, I think there's two possibilities. He was either running for his life, because why else would you head into that horrible terrain, or he was thinking he was on the adventure of a lifetime. Did you guys hear that somebody phoned in an anonymous tip, supposedly, I think on Saturday, and they said where Jay's body would be? I don't know if that's been verified. I don't know if that's true. If it is, it certainly makes you wonder who would have phoned that in and why did they need to be anonymous? I am not a conspiracy-driven true crime creator. I tend to stay away from all of that stuff. But in this case, I just can't let it go because there are so many strange details. We can see from the video of Jay at the rave on Sunday that he was out of it. He was either tired or on something or both. Why did he get in that car to drive 50 minutes to a remote Airbnb where he only spent maybe 3 to 4 hours at the most, only to leave in a hurry without fully charging his phone, without water, and then instead of waiting 2 hours for a bus that would have taken him back to Los Cristianos, he opts to head into that horrible terrain where he had gotten cut right out of the gate on a cactus. Now, I read on the U.S. Sun website today that Jay's family is due to bring him back to Lancashire in the coming days, but the Tenerife police are yet to complete their investigation, and according to the Sun, this means that the UK authorities could be forced to hold off on their official inquest for months until Spanish officials complete their findings. The article on the Sun says that an inquest in the UK may then take even longer to conclude based on the nature of Jay's case and the complexities around it. So this sounds like they are going to do an inquest, and I really hope so because I'd like to know more about the 2 British men. I'd like to know once and for all why Jay went to that remote Airbnb and why he opted to put himself through that hellish hike through that horrible terrain instead of waiting the 2 hours for the bus. Apparently, there are a lot of online sleuths that are trying to get a hold of the autopsy report. Everybody wants to know which bones exactly were broken because apparently Jay had a lot of broken bones. I'm not among those trying to get the autopsy report because I think that's quite an invasion of privacy. But I do wonder which bones Jay broke during this fall. Did he fall on his head and did he break his neck? Is that why they're saying they believe that he died pretty much right away? I found an article on npr.org about this because some people have managed to survive incredibly long plunges. And one of the things that obviously makes a big difference is what you land on. Jay landed on hard rock, it sounds like. It's too bad there wasn't a thick canopy of something that could have caught him and cradled him somehow. A man named Rhett Alain, who is an associate professor of physics at Southeastern Louisiana State University, was quoted in this article. He said, quote, "A good thing to land on might be a tree, because a tree you could hit the branches as you're going down. If it's a good tree, that could really increase your stopping time and decrease your acceleration. Water could also be a good target as long as you don't belly flop. Water could work, but you want to be like a pencil and go as deep as possible, which increases your stopping time and decreases your acceleration. The article also said that snow, power lines, surprisingly, and rooftops have caught survivors in the past and might be a better option than water. And this Professor Alain said that the one thing you don't want to do is land on your head. According to Professor Alain, he thinks that landing face up on your back gives you the best chance of survival, and he bases his theory on NASA research from the 60s, which examined the effects of extreme G-forces on test pilots. So I'm going to quote from the article. It says, NASA said, "Hey, we like to accelerate, so let's accelerate some people until bad things happen." So they did. The NASA results indicated that humans are most tolerant of G-forces that go from the front of the body to the back, like the type that pushes race car drivers into the backs of their seats when they hit the gas. NASA terms this kind of acceleration eyeballs in, because people who experience it feel like their eyeballs are getting pushed into the back of their head. G-forces that come from other directions, like the kind that push you into the bottom of your seat, eyeballs down, are much more deadly. Consequently, Alain thinks that landing on your back face up gives you the best chance at survival because it mimics the eyeballs in position. Then the article says this, quote, "However, a report by the Highway Safety Research Institute examined 110 case studies of relatively short distance fall victims and concluded that landing feet first is your best shot. The rationale is that you sacrifice your legs for the good of your torso. The body has more deceleration distance when it impacts feet first, and the long bones absorb a large amount of the impact energy before fracturing. Although there is disagreement on the best way to land, there's agreement on one point: don't land on your head." Another expert cited in the article is Dr. Jeffrey Bender, a professor of surgery at the University of Oklahoma Health Sciences Center, and he said that he's treated numerous victims of falls from varying heights, including a Texas skydiver whose parachute malfunctioned. He explains why people who fall long distances often don't do so well. He said, quote, "It's one of two things, either a severe head injury or a massive hemorrhage." Okay, so I'm gonna guess that in the case of Jay Slater, unfortunately, he probably landed head first, and on that hard rock, he did not stand a chance. That's me speculating, but we shall see. Until the next time on Bed Crime Stories. Hey, if you enjoyed this, please smash that like button and please subscribe to my channel. Love you guys. See ya later.